Hello, my fellow donkeys, and welcome back to another rant session where we tackle the stuff that drives us absolutely nuts. Today's topic? The once mighty Marvel Cinematic Universe, or as I like to call it now, shit. A franchise that once ruled Hollywood with its compelling storytelling and iconic characters now seems to have lost its way. Yep, it's time to talk about why Marvel is done. Now, before you throw your limited edition Iron Man Funko Pop at the screen, hear me out. I'm not here to disrespect what Marvel has achieved. They gave us over a decade of incredible movies, memorable characters, and moments that had us cheering in theaters. But let's be honest, the golden age is over, and what we're left with now feels like a cheap imitation of the glory days. Let's start with the most glaring issue, the decline in quality. Remember when Marvel movies were events, when each release felt like a meticulously crafted masterpiece that added something meaningful to the overarching story. Fast forward to today, and what do we have? A conveyor belt of mediocrity. Movies and TV shows churned out at such a breakneck pace that it's impossible for them to maintain any semblance of quality. Take Secret Invasion as an example. What should have been an epic spy thriller with Skrulls infiltrating Earth turned into a snooze fest with lackluster writing, unimpressive twists, and CGI that looked like it came from a student project. And don't even get me started on Thor: Love and Thunder, a film that felt more like a parody of itself than an actual entry in the MCU. Marvel used to set the standard. Now they're struggling to meet it. Speaking of CGI, can we talk about how Marvel's reliance on computer-generated everything is sucking the soul out of their movies? There was a time when their CGI was groundbreaking, seamlessly blending fantasy with reality. Now, it feels like Marvel is using CGI to paper over cracks in their storytelling. Watching recent Marvel films is like watching a video game cutscene. The magic is gone, replaced by an over-reliance on explosions and shiny effects to distract us from the lack of substance. And let's not forget how rushed it all feels. Like the VFX artists were given 2 weeks to animate an entire movie. Looking at you, She-Hulk! But it's not just the visuals that are falling apart. The storytelling has lost its spark. Marvel used to be a masterclass in long-term planning, weaving an intricate web of interconnected narratives that culminated in the epic showdown that was Avengers Endgame.
Avengers! Assemble.
Now, the MCU feels like a directionless mess. Sure, they've introduced Kang as the next big bad, but where is he? One mediocre outing in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and nothing. Compare that to Thanos, whose shadow loomed large over the entire Infinity Saga. Kang feels more like an afterthought than a legitimate threat. And then there's the multiverse, the supposed centerpiece of this new phase. It had so much potential. The concept of alternate realities could have opened up endless storytelling possibilities. Instead, it's been reduced to a gimmick. Outside of Spider-Man No Way Home, which nailed the multiverse concept, the multiverse has been an inconsistent, confusing mess. If Marvel doesn't even know what to do with their multiverse, how are we supposed to care? Quick break. If you're enjoying this rant, don't forget to show your support. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you're always in the loop for our latest content. Let's keep this donkey party going. All right, back to it. Another major issue is audience fatigue. Let's face it, we're all a little superhero-ed out. Marvel has flooded the market with so much content that it's hard to keep up, let alone care. Gone are the days when you could watch a Marvel movie without needing to catch up on 5 TV shows and 3 other films just to understand what's going on. The MCU has become like homework.
Hate, 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 double hate.
Loathe entirely.
And if I wanted to do homework, I'd just go to college instead of starting a YouTube channel. And while we're on the subject of oversaturation, let's talk about Disney's role in all this. It's no secret that Disney sees the MCU as a money-making machine, and they're milking it for all it's worth. But in their quest for maximum profit, they've sacrificed the very thing that made Marvel special: heart. Instead of focusing on quality storytelling, they're more concerned with hitting release dates and filling Disney Plus with endless content. The result? A watered-down product that feels more like a corporate obligation than a passion project. Let's not forget about the characters, or rather the lack of compelling new ones. Think back to Iron Man's arc. A cocky billionaire transformed into a selfless hero, willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. Or Captain America, whose journey from an idealistic soldier to a leader burdened by responsibility left us deeply invested. The new generation of characters just doesn't offer that same level of depth or emotional resonance. The MCU's original lineup, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Thor, were iconic. They had depth, charisma, and story arcs that kept us invested for years. The new generation, not so much. Characters like Shang-Chi, the Eternals, and America Chavez haven't resonated with audiences in the same way. It's not entirely their fault. The writing just isn't there. Instead of taking the time to develop these characters, Marvel seems more focused on pumping out content and hoping something sticks. Let's also consider Marvel's questionable pacing. It feels like they're rushing through storylines without giving them the depth they deserve. Remember when each movie felt like an essential puzzle piece? Now, it feels like they're dumping random pieces on a table and hoping we'll figure out how they fit together. It's a chaotic mess that leaves audiences scratching their heads instead of eagerly anticipating the next chapter. And while we're at it, can we address the elephant in the room? Marvel's formula has become stale. The quippy dialogue, flashy action sequences, and predictable 3-act structure were fun the first dozen times, but now it's just tiring.
I'm tired of suffering. I'm tired of suffering.
Audiences are craving something fresh, something bold. Instead, Marvel keeps recycling the same tropes, hoping we won't notice. Spoiler alert, we noticed. Finally, let's talk about Marvel's lack of stakes. In the Infinity Saga, we felt the weight of every decision, every battle. Characters grew, changed, and made sacrifices that mattered. Now, it feels like nothing has any real consequences. Characters come back from the dead. Multiverse shenanigans erase mistakes, and everything feels disposable. Without stakes, there's no tension. And without tension, there's no investment. And let's not ignore MCU's tone. Remember when Marvel movies had heart and humor in equal measure?
Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off, what are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
These days, the humor feels forced, the emotional beats are rushed, and the films struggle to balance tone. It's like they're trying to please everyone and ending up pleasing no one. And let's be honest, Marvel's handling of diversity has been hit or miss. Representation is important, but it's not enough to simply tick boxes. Characters need to be well written, relatable, and integral to the story. When diversity feels forced or superficial, it does a disservice to the very audiences it's meant to uplift. Marvel has made strides, sure, but there's still a long way to go. So is Marvel done? Maybe not completely, but they're certainly on thin ice. The MCU was once the king of Hollywood, but now it feels more like a fading star. If Marvel wants to reclaim its throne, they need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and remember what made them great in the first place. Until then, we'll be here, waiting for something, anything, to reignite that spark. But hey, what do I know? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree, or am I being too harsh? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome, my fellow donkeys.